I just wanted to take a minute and go over a couple of map things with you because this year you'll be testing on Chromebook carts in your classroom. That's all grades. We'll be testing in your classrooms on Chromebooks unless you have students that will be pulled for accommodations. So I'm going to log into MAP and walk you through a couple things that you might have to do this year that you might not have done in years past. NWEA has updated their website a little bit this year, so it looks a little different visually. So if you've not already created your test sessions, you're going to do that under Manage Test Sessions. Okay, you're going to want to find students to test. Cornwell's. I'm just going to put one student in a testing session so that I can get mine up and running and show you some things. So I'm just going to pull one student from Janine's class who I know will be getting accommodations. I'm going to grab Riley, bring her in. Okay, so once you have all of your students from your class under here, under student list, when you go to save your session to name it something that you will remember you want the kids to log in with, once you're in your testing session, so this is what they've given me as the name, but I don't really want to call it that because I want the kids to log in with a specific session name. You're going to end your session up here. This is where you can change your test session name. So I'm just going to call it MAP. I'm going to save and exit. Now when I go back to actually run my test session under Manage Testing Sessions, there's Save Testing Sessions, and that's where I will go. So right now that's the only session I have. So when it's time for me to test my kids, I hit Test Now. Okay, and here we go. That's the session I called it. I called it MAP. That's my password. Anytime you want to suspend your session and then test again, it will change your password. So just keep that in mind. It might not always be the same password if you left the session and come back to it. So as you can see, I only have one student here in my testing session, but this year you may be asked to test other students during your session. For instance, if Janine's class is testing, but one of Kathy's kids was absent the day before on their test session day, then the student from Kathy's class will be going to Janine's class and testing with Janine's class so they have a quiet testing environment. So you will have your entire roster down here, but if you need to add a student, then you just hit Add Student right here. And you might not have all of these options of places to add them from, but fortunately I get to see everybody. So you can just put in all the information if you want. Let's say we're taking them from Kathy's class. Okay. And, oh, now I have to remember somebody who's in Kathy's class. Let's see here. She has Ella Mansfield. So I'm just going to type her last name in. I'm going to add that student to my testing session. Okay, if I have to add more, then I'll just keep adding names into this field and adding them. But as you can see, she's down here in my student list. So when I have all the students I want in my student list, I save and return to testing. Okay, so now I have these students that are waiting. I can select them all and assign their test. And I'm going to give them the reading 2 to 5 test and assign that. So then they would just log on with MAP 4591. And once they did that and went through the whole screen, you could hit confirm. Now, if you are testing a student who maybe started the test but didn't finish it, so you've suspended their test, and now they're continuing their test session, when you hit confirm, you're going to get a pop-up box that says, you know, their test is suspended. Do you really want to continue? And you just hit yes, and it'll push it through. Now, here's another thing. If you're testing and your student maybe goes homesick or whatever the reason, you need to suspend their test because they're stopping their test. You would simply click on their name, select action, and suspend. I'm getting this red notice up here because they haven't actually started the test. So they have to say testing in here for that to happen. But if they were testing, it would suspend their test. And if you wanted to bring that student back into the testing session, you would check their name, select action, and test again. This will not make them start over from scratch. It'll make them start on the same number that they left off on. It might not be the exact same question, but it's the same number. Okay? And of course, when you're done, you can end your testing session, save and exit. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to help you. Otherwise, happy map testing.